Good day, everyone. Welcome back. Today, I want to show everyone something that I just got in the mail from a store that we needn't name. Actually, obviously, this is Card Kingdom. I love shopping at Card Kingdom because it's just so straightforward. Like I don't have to compete with anyone. There's no bidding. I kind of know what the quality standards are going to be. Although I hear that depending on who you ask, those quality standards are a little sketch these days, a little inconsistent. But anyway, let me do this. Let me just make sure I pull out the box. All right. So what the heck is in here? What I bought here to add to my collection, and I want to talk about this a little bit. These are some Arabian Nights singles. Now, it's probably the most unimpressive Arabian Nights single that you could acquire, but I think it's part of a larger conversation. So I'll flip this out and you'll see, ooh man, look at the back of that card. Look how nice that is. Look at those. Those are in pretty okay shape, but you can see already right there, these are supposed to be near mint cards. And if you ask me, it's a pretty big chunk to take out of a near mint card. If I showed the back of that on eBay or something, a long time from now down the road, and I said, this is a near mint card, and you saw that, you'd probably disagree. Let's just say that. So, free token. I bought a bunch of copies of Sandstorm. So they look pretty clean to me. I mean, the corners aren't so bad. We'll get into that in just a second. But why did I buy these? What's the deal here? So Sandstorm there's nothing really that remarkable about Sandstorm, but they are a fixed quantity. I wanted to maybe take this opportunity to talk about buying Four Horsemen, so to speak, cards and singles from those sets. So Arabian Nights was such a small print run and such a unique set that buying cards from it, I've never really thought was a bad idea. Now, I really would like to, the channel's pretty young, but I would really like to talk at a later date about sort of my thoughts and opinion on, investing or versus just collecting and having fun. This is me collecting and having fun. Owning these cards makes me feel good. I love them. They are old, they're clean, they're a piece of history, they're original. This was the first Magic expansion, as everybody knows. Expansion, right? Not like the first set. This is the first, expansion to the basic game. And the print run of these was so low that finding cards in good condition is only going to get tougher as time goes on. It's only going to become more difficult to acquire high-end, gradable, raw copies of cards. And I'm of the opinion that when people grab this stuff here, when they buy Arabian Nights, Antiquities, Legends, and to some extent the Dark, there's a lot of activity there. I'll definitely have some thoughts on that later. These are not the things that end up getting dumped when times are tough or people need money. These are the last things that you sell. So I'm of the opinion that it gets harder and harder and harder to pick up cards like this over time. And as is evidenced, when I went to buy these, I had to actually keep checking back over and over again to just see if there were any near mint Arabian Nights cards available for sale on a website like Card Kingdom. And to be honest, there really weren't. It's very rare. I was setting buy alerts, and that's maybe something I recommend you do if you're interested in trying to pick up some old stuff that's just really difficult to find. I had to set buy alerts for these. I'd get a random email at 4 p.m. on a Wednesday or something saying, hey, Sandstorm is in stock. And I'd say, okay, great. I'd click on the link and go. I'd see one copy available, throw it in my cart, and by the time I went to check out, it's it's unavailable. It's gone. It seemed to me quite obviously that tons of people are doing the same thing. They're either, investing or speculating or something, but I was really just trying to collect. I thought, they're only going to get tougher to find. They're only going to become more expensive. They're only going to become harder to actually buy when they are or are not available. So how much is Sandstorm really worth? How much should you pay for it? And does it actually look like a card that is a spike, is a piece of hype, or not? So using this resource, this is Mtg Stocks. I think everybody's pretty familiar with this. What you can see, if you look at like the past 4 years of this card, it looks a little bit like a roller coaster. But if you check out in early 2018, there was only worth like 50 cents. Like no one really cared about this stuff the way they do now at that point. But the way I see it, January 2019, for about a year period, the card dipped up to like above $5 and then, down to a couple dollars and then maybe back up to $4. Then for a little window there, for another year, it kind of finds its bearing at 250 or so. And now it's kind of jumped back up in a little plateau there to like just above $5 for, again, like another year. So are those sustainable, like long-term, price movements? I don't think so, really. But the fact that the card has had 4 years to find its way back down to being worth next to nothing, and it hasn't, and it never ever even got close. The worst it did from 2018 until now was stick at around 250 for an entire year. So I don't know that this matters a ton. Like, I think it would be a shame to want to collect something and then have to go pay an arm and a leg, relatively speaking. Again, the card's only a few dollars, but it would be a shame to have to pay an arm and a leg just to acquire something that is only going to be worth significantly less than you got gouged for. When, in my point of view, the whole point of collecting and enjoying these cards is that what you pay for them and what you pay to enjoy the hobby doesn't evaporate. It's not a one-time use thing. It's not hype. It's not something trendy that then is worth nothing later. It's got some long-term value to it. So am I okay paying, whatever everybody's asking now for Sandstorm? Its market price is like $8 or something. I paid $7. So I'm okay with that. If it careens back down to 250, who cares? It's really not that big of a risk. I'm going to lose like what, $15, $20 or so. It's not really the end of the world, but that's because I haven't put myself in a position to make that the end of the world. And I think that's important. You've got to be really careful when you buy something that you're trying to enjoy to not trick yourself and lie to yourself and say, "Oh no, this is just for fun, but man, I really hope this goes up. Ooh, I'm really spending a little more than I should because I think that this." Don't do that. Don't do that. Just enjoy it. Just have some fun. But does it look like these types of cards are going to keep climbing in value? I mean, maybe. I don't know. If my crystal ball gets a little less foggy and I can perfectly predict this stuff, I probably would not share it with anyone anyway. But anyway, that's my 2 cents. So I went ahead and scooped these up. These were, just so you know, $7 each. Now, that may sound like a lot of money. It may sound like nothing. To me, it sort of matters, but it sort of doesn't. My point of view is that's nothing. These are from the moment the game started to grow, and they're never making more of these, even though this is not a reserve list card and it's been reprinted a ton. It actually became kind of a standard staple. You've got this reprinted in several sets, including Mirage. But I thought, that's nothing. And I don't plan on flipping these or selling these or anything like that. If anything, I'm going to wake up decades from now and open up a binder and say, oh wow, look at all these cards that I bought for, God, $7. I mean, nuts. Remember that alpha commons up until like just a few years ago were $1. I mean, $1, $2, $3. They just, people weren't interested in these cards the way they are now. Now the cat's out of the bag and it's never going back in. And everyone understands that old Magic cards are highly sought after collectibles. Wizards has done an incredible job of keeping the game going. And so people's faith that Magic as a game sticking around is pretty high. So if Magic's relevant and Magic's a good game and people like it, then the history and popularity of old stuff is only going to become more and more significant and meaningful. So I think that if you want to collect and have some fun and add some old pieces to your your binder or your collection, have at it. And good luck, by the way, because they're not easy to pick up. But as far as investing goes, or me viewing this as an investment, not really. I mean, at the very least, what makes it a little more fun is that the thing I just bought, I believe wholeheartedly will retain its value, if not grow slightly. But that's not really the point. The point, first and foremost, is owning stuff you love. It makes me really happy to have this type of stuff and to see it and to open up my binder and flip through and just get a little therapy. But I do not plan on holding these for 6 months, betting on a spike because everybody's going crazy right now buying old cards and then selling them and locking in profits or something. These are not commodities to me. These are pieces to be, treasured and cared for and really enjoyed. So a lot more to come from me on this. I'm definitely on the earlier part of being a middle-aged man, so my point of view about security and stability and financial well-being and wherewithal has certainly changed a lot from when I was young, and just saving meant getting enough to buy a thing that I would then have no money because of. That was my concept of saving until fairly recently in my life. So anyway, more to come on that. I'm rambling now. Thanks a bunch. Talk to you guys soon.